Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Paul, by the way, if you're new here, since I can't see who is actually in the chat. Hopefully there's some new people. Maybe there's some new people. Maybe there's some new people. Maybe not. Hello, everybody. We'll get started here in a couple minutes. Let everybody jump on in. If you are new or you forget, pinned at the top of the chat is a Google form that you should complete as long as you're not related to me in any shape or fashion or dating somebody that's related to me. You'll be eligible to win one of the pins that we're doing in the giveaway. So that means that a couple different people that are in the chat are ineligible to win, sadly, because there are some people that have crashed the chat. My kid and her boyfriend. Hi, Jay, Colin, Anthony, Nostravinci, Ian, Lopan, Scott, Caron, Andreas, Jeremy, Aberti, and then this is devastating news. You guys you get enough free pins as it is. You don't need to usurp them from actual eligible people. Okay, so there's quite a few of you already in the chat, so we're just going to go ahead. No, not a contest to win a date to any of my relatives. That's not what we're here for. Yeah, they get the family discount. They get stuff for free. They just take it from me or ask me for it. So yeah, they're already taken care of. We're going to jump right into things. I don't have a ton of stuff to show off today, but we'll talk about a bunch of stuff. I imagine there'll be, like always, a lot of questions that you'll have as we go along. I'm trying to think. So right off the bat, I wanted to show off, I had some questions emailed to me about the August blaze. Pictures kind of make them a little difficult to see. So go ahead and show off the Cerakote on these just to make sure people can see them a little bit better. This is the latest of our Cerakote colors that we released. Oh shoot, what was it? Yesterday, I think. Yeah, so a couple of these went up yesterday. Actually, not just one of the ones it's shown. So the fluted bolt is available now, as well as dragon skin pocket modal. But we are checking and putting together. We're inspecting and assembling the Vertexes and the Hive EDKs. No, Bob, I think we've had a few other Hive EDKs, but really small batches, real small. So there'll be a little bit more of the Hive EDKs in this batch. We did more of them for this release. So this is a little more time-consuming process in terms of the color that this is. With not time-consuming, it's a multi-step process. Base coat is a black color, and then the red and gold flake is actually suspended in a clear coat and sprayed on while the black is still wet. So it's wet on wet, which usually that you don't want it that Usually there's at least a little bit of drying in between coats. And then for this batch, there's actually a second coat of the clear coat put on to really make the red kind of pop. When you do just one coat of this, it's actually almost like a flat finish, which doesn't look nearly as dynamic. It looks a lot like shiny anodize, like red shiny anodize, with a little bit of like gold in it. But then when you spray it a second time with the clear coat, it gives it a gloss finish and really makes this pop. And so it doesn't look, with the second clear coat, it makes it so that it doesn't, it sets it apart from the anodized that we can get in a similar color. So our Cerakote applicator basically did that of his own volition. He gave us a few samples with just the single coat where it was a matte look. And even he was like, I don't really like it as much. It feels, I don't want to say stickier, but like it has a different texture as well. Just not as dynamic looking. I don't think it's nearly as unique looking as this color like this. So yeah, so this is going to be 3-part process where we go through all these. The next release is going to be the Vertexes. The Vertex fountain pens are going to be available next week, early next week. And then by the end of next week, we'll have all of the Hive EDKs available at the end of next week. However many we are able to put together. So super cool. I actually like this color. I'm not a big red fan, but I think this color looks pretty unique. It's kind of like almost like a wine color with like a gold metal flake mixed in with it. So cool looking, different. It's much different than, I should have brought one with me. It's a lot different than people are like, oh, it looks just like the black cherry. It doesn't look, to me, it doesn't look anything like the black cherry. And it feels significantly different than the black cherry when you actually touch it. So totally different look, totally different feel, not very similar to any of the other Cerakote stuff that we've ever had. This whole series, this FX series that is this like metallic clear coat over black, reminds me a lot of some of the more basic resins that you'll see in fountain pens that have some like flake, some mica suspended in them to give it just like a gold tinge or make it a little bit sheen a little bit, some iridescence to it. This is very similar to that, or automotive paint, the metallic automotive paints that you see, I think is probably the closest. So, hi Jim, nice of you to join us. I'm going to move these out of the way and I'm going to show off something else. Well, the other stuff coming later this month. We're going to have, I might actually turn this light off and see if that's better. Got a fresh batch of the dark mode jawbreakers coming in. So this is the first few pens. I threw them together so that we could show them off on stream. Hey, Eric. We've had a very small amount of these available for the pen club. And now we're going to have a larger... we're going to have a full website release. It's still kind of difficult to see those. So it's difficult to see because the shine, that doesn't help because it blocks the camera. So it's a armor black base coat, which is like a matte black. And then over the top of that, we've got hunter orange, prison pink, and parakeet green splatter. So this is we sold out of all of the, I think we have there might be like 2 inks still available that the Pen Club have access to. But all the other ones the Pen Club got are sold out immediately. So we expanded this. There's going to be multiple different versions. This is just 2 of them. I think there's another bolt with a different grip section besides the fluted. I've got more inks available. We're going to have Vertexes available with this. Maybe a Modal. I'm not sure. I'm not positive for sure all of them, but I think there's 5 or 6 different pens that we're going to have available for this one. Look really cool. No 2 pens are exactly the same. I think it's better than, as much as I like the Jawbreaker, I think this is a little bit better color. It just looks super, super cool. It is like a negative of the regular Jawbreaker. How difficult is it to put on the Jawbreaker? It would be extremely difficult for him to do the clips and get them to look right. Part of that is the clips, when we've had the clips Cerakoted in the past, they tend to chip very easily because the edges are a little sharp. And then there's just not a lot of surface area there. So unfortunately, like, we haven't moved forward with doing the clips. He'd have to do them separately also. He'd have to do them off the pen. Otherwise there would be a void underneath them if you did them on the pen. Or do both. And it would increase the cost significantly to do the clips. Like, when we did Cerakoted clips, it added a good $10 to the overall cost of the pen. Like, we couldn't reduce them nearly as much. It's why we tend to just do the anodized clips and knobs. His prices are really competitive, but they're still it's still expensive to get Cerakote done. So yeah, so you're gonna they're trickling in right now. We should have them available by the end of the month. So before the end of the month. So like the last week of August is when I'm really shooting to get those up on the website. So we'll have the Blaze stuff, August Blaze stuff available through next week, a couple different drops of that, and then finish off August and go into September with the dark mode Jawbreaker stuff available. And then I have yet to really plan out much of September. So I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work cut out for me. I think there's like 80 total pens. No, I think there's 100 total pens because I think it's 5 different pens and 20 of each pen available. So about 100 of those total available. I hadn't planned on doing Everyday Keras update, really. Like, don't have a lot of news where the basic or Everyday Keras is concerned. Is what Cerakote, Jim, sorry. But it is Cerakote. Oh, but it is Cerakote. Yeah, it is Cerakote. Not, sorry, I'm confused. I had lost track of thought. You can clarify that for me. I'll answer your question, Jim. So I hadn't planned on giving a big Everyday Keras update. However, I will go ahead and put something in the chat you guys can look at your leisure if you want to see another review of the Everyday Kara stuff. If you hadn't heard, yet, we did re-release. No, this is, I've had this for a while. This is like 2 years old, maybe even 3 years old. This might be the 2023 release of that. Okay, focus. Everyday Cares. So I put a review that High Consumption did. If you're unfamiliar with High Consumption, they are a group of reviewers that tend to deal with men's like EDC gear. Ian Rebello is the kind of the mastermind behind High Consumption. He's been there. I think he's the founder. Ian and I go back to when I first got hired here. He also, I don't know if he still works for Gallantry. Gallantry is a everyday carry gear retail website. I'm not sure if he still works for Gallantry or not, or if he's associated with them at all. But we sent them product. They're really picky about the stuff that they review at High Consumption. Kind of has to fit their aesthetic. So I didn't hear back from him. He and I corresponded briefly when Everyday Karis and the Basic 001 launched, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Happy to hear from you." And then I didn't hear anything else when we launched the website and launched the product. And then a couple days ago, or yesterday, I think, he posted this their August 9 best everyday Karis, or 9 best everyday carry items for August. They're one of the nicest things about High Consumption. Like we've dealt with a lot of everyday carry influencers and reviewers over the years, and they're all different. They all have their different focuses. They all have their different way of doing things. And one of the things I really appreciate about Ian and the staff at High Consumption is that they're very transparent about where they get the items from, whether they've been given items, whether they've paid for items, how they're going about reviewing the items. They're relatively well versed in actually using whatever they're reviewing. So when they review high end or even higher end watches or wallets, they do their staff is well versed in actually reviewing them and providing you with a lot of detail about them. So I appreciate that. And then, and they're really upfront. Hey, we received this product. It was free. The reason that we're putting it in here is we believe in the company and the product that we're reviewing. So for them to spend the time to go ahead and feature us on there is, it's a pretty big deal. They have a big reader base. They have a lot of people that engage with their products. And I would say that if you don't consume their products but you are an EDC person, it's definitely a site to bookmark and to go back to and read their updates or follow them on Instagram or YouTube, because you'll frequently find like cool things that you might not have run across. If you're in the market for gear, watches, wallets, knives, flashlights, like the whole EDC smorgasbord of stuff. So So I really appreciate him featuring Everyday Karis. It was nice that it coincided with us re-releasing the Basic 001. If you don't have a 001 and you wanted one, they are still available. Well, about half of the batch is still available that we released a couple days ago. So you can go over to Everyday Keras and grab one if you don't have one currently and you want that first one. If not, and you're curious about other Everyday Keras goings on, we are gearing up to wrap up the third subscription. So if you're a subscriber, you should be getting some email from us next month with further information about that. And then we're going to move straight into our end of the year quarterly release, along with the next 3 or 4 pens. We're working on designing those and then getting them on the machine. Josh has been working on all that stuff this week. They had issues with the machine going down and tooling breaking and all kinds of nonsense that they had to fight through. But it's been interesting to watch the process of the basic and Everyday Keras kind of take shape, and just how quickly and easily and fluidly we can kind of move through those products. It's just interesting to see a product like that be able to be on a computer. Like Josh will sit there and make all the changes in SolidWorks to change all the design features and everything. And then how quickly he's able to move it to the machine and then go through the manufacturing process to do like the next version. It's having a single piece design on a pen and not worrying about, I got to machine this part on this machine and machine this part on this machine, and then potentially add details on a third machine. The time saving and just an ability to be a lot more efficient is really cool to see. I'm not a machinist. But I can appreciate that. And it's one of the reasons why we've been able to price that as competitively as we did. To price it at $29 and still make money off of it. So it's pretty cool to watch it all go through. Will all the versions be made available at some time, or are they going to be limited? So Brian asks, will all the versions of the Everyday Keras, the basic, be available at one time, or are they going to be limited? So they're limited in production run in terms of like, we're going to make this, like we're going to do like 500 of every one of these first releases. So that's the goal, was between 400 and 500 of the 001 through 006 were manufactured, but they're not limited in the sense of that we're never going to do them again. There's a function on all of the pages of the standard ones where you can sign up to be notified when we re-release that specific version, and we'll return to them when we have enough people that request them. So we got a lot of requests for the 001 between April and now, enough that we were like, oh, we can manufacture a whole, like another 200 and put them on the website. So because people either missed the 001, or they found us afterwards and were like, I really like that one better for whatever reason. We had a lot of people ask for it and they requested it, and so we have a stock notification where I get emails that basically say, hey, you have this many people that are waiting for this product. So that's kind of why they're limited in the sense of like limited production run, but we're not going to stop producing that specific one. We'll return to it now and again, depending on people wanting them and requesting them. So if you missed one, Brian, or you end up missing one later down the road, you can always add yourself to the list. The pages of the basics that we will return to remain live, and then there's a little box in there that said notify me when available, and you put your email address in there, and then literally when we add stock back to the website, it automatically sends you an email. So it's a relatively automated process. Jim, yes. So the wine Vertex is Cerakote. It is Cerakote over aluminum. Yeah. Okay, so excuse me. I had some trail mix for a snack and it's coming out of my teeth. So that's kind of the Everyday Keras update. We are going to have some limited edition Halloween basics that are going to be available closer to October. Those are in the plans right now. That's like the only official. I don't have them to show off. I've just planned them and set them aside and basically, or set the raw bodies aside to get sent out for anodized and Cerakote. We figured Halloween's a big enough. We get a lot of people that buy pens at Halloween. They love our Halloween pens. So we are going to do some Halloween versions of the Everyday Keras. And that's basically kind of where we're at in terms of we plan that far ahead. And Josh and I are working on the next 3 months, or October, November, December releases of the Everyday Keras, along with the beginning of 2026. So, and expanding to more products, several, not 2 as in the number, but expanding to add more products that are not pens, including some keychains, and I'm trying to finalize the design for that rickshaw case. So we're gonna expand that quite a bit. Hopefully over the next 6 months, as long as I can get to it. All right, so glow in the dark basic. That would be super cool. Thought about it. There are a few Cerakote colors that are glow in the dark. I saw a reddish pink swirl meteor Vertex on Instagram. Do you have any stashed? James. Oh, I might have some. I'll have to go through some bins of the extra Vertex parts. Just shoot me an email, James, paul@kerascustoms.com, and I'll dig through all my stuff. We'll see if isn't 1 or 2 of them. I think I have a handful of those left. I'll take photos of it and shoot it to you. So, Keras After Dark. That does not sound. Most places that use the After Dark thing, it's like not necessarily the glow in the dark version. Okay, so let's do, since everybody's like kind of asking questions or trickling a little bit, we'll do the Q&A now, and then I'll show off the Vertex resin stuff, and we'll go from there. So, Ian, Paul, would you mind telling us background on the cube and the thoughts going forward? Are you talking about the standard cube, like the 9-hole big cube, like this cube? Just to be sure we're talking about the same thing. I'll have to get with our Cerakote applicator because he does have a list of the Cerakote ones that are glow in the dark. I know there's a few of them. Okay, so the cube. So if you're not familiar, the cube is not our design. The cube is a collaboration between Dudek Modern Goods, which was the product side of the Clicky Post, which is a now retired writing instrument blog that was run by Mike Dudek. He's local here in Arizona. He ran the Clicky Post by himself. Kind of came about at the same time as some of the other large writing instrument blogs like The Pen Addict and Well Appointed Desk. So quite some time ago, he reviewed multiple of our first pens, the ones we launched on Kickstarter. And he also ran Dudek Modern Goods, which was like he was making pen holders out of wood. He had a shop at his house and made them all himself. And so he sold a 9-hole, like walnut and multiple different types of wood versions of his pen holders. And the 9-hole one was called the Cube. It was a square. It was a cube, not a square. It was a cube with 9 holes milled in it that he sold on his site. And so we collaborated with us. He collaborated with us and we basically make that version, our version of the Cube, out of aluminum. We've previously done it out of brass as well, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. And then a proceed, like we basically, I don't know the exact the amount per cube sale that we give to him, but basically every cube we sell, he gets like $5 or something like that, kind of licensing rights or something like that. So the reason we don't have any currently is they have to be made on our mills, and the mills have been like totally busy working on job shop work. So part of the reason we don't just sell manufacture and sell pens, and because the market has gone, the pen market has gone into a contraction in terms of consumer spending habits. We have taken on a lot of outside work, business to business work that we in years past had slowly moved away from. So when Bill started the business, he was solely a business to business standards type machine shop. And as time went on and we added machines and had the ability, we added the retail products with the iPhone cases and the iPad cases, other accessories like that, the tops, and then eventually pens. And as pens became more and more of our revenue, a greater portion of our revenue was through our retail side. We didn't have to, but we made the decision to slow down and pare down the amount of outside work that we took on, because because the pen side of the business has started to slow down in terms of just economics and revenue. We've started adding more business to business work that we in the past would have basically not pursued to offset. It's just kind of how you do business when you have the ability to do so. And with that, those other businesses needing mill work as opposed to tiny lathe work that is on a pen, that prioritizes their product as opposed to the cubes. So we've been out of the cubes for quite some time. They're on the list. They've been on the list since, the end of last year. They've probably been on the list since about this time last year. But they're just not a priority in terms of producing them currently. They're time consuming. They require a lot of hand work in terms of like the setup pieces. We can machine 4 of them at a time. And then it's basically different stages. You do operation 1 and it does, and then you move it to the next spot, and does the next one. There's 4 different operations before it's finished. And so we basically kind of have paused that product until we can fit it in. So as soon as we have enough time to do 50 to 100 cubes, we're just gonna pause it because we have to buy it and buy the raw material in those quantities anyway. So, and the other thing that we really have to take into consideration is the dramatic increase in raw material price for the cubes is going to impact our price on that product to consumer. So we've absorbed the price of pens. So we're our margin is lower now on our pens. And we just can't do that. We won't be able to do that with the cubes. The cost increase in raw material will force us to raise the prices on those. So the raw ones, I think, are about $105 plus $20 shipping. And I would imagine, unless changes happen with the cost of aluminum between now and when we have to buy it, they will probably be closer to $150 for us to sell the same cube. So there is that to consider. In terms of the Mega Cube was basically we told him, hey, we're going to make a 99 pen version of the cube. We're just going to call it a Mega. It's not a cube, obviously, but it's based off the cube, which is why we named it the Mega Cube. We thought it was funny. And that one, I have no idea when we'll re-release that, because number one, getting it on the machine, and number two, increasing like that product itself was already $600 and will probably be significantly more expensive than that, especially once you tack on the shipping costs that we have to put into it. It's $70 to ship a Mega Cube. So at that minimum, $70 to ship. Okay, let's see. More questions. Yes, the Mega Cube was the 100. So he wasn't technically, Dudek wasn't really involved in the Mega Cube. He stops by every now and then. He still collects our pens. He collects raw versions of our pens. So like the pens that are completely no anodized, just a raw version. And I think he has a collection of matte black versions of our pens too. So he'll stop by. We'll talk about him. We'll talk to him, once every other month or so. He'll stop in and see what's going on. Super nice guy. Love having him around. I love to chat with him. He's just a genuinely nice person, and likes pens and desk accessories and stuff like that. And he just doesn't, he has multiple more kids than he did when he launched Dudek Modern Goods, and does not have the time to, he still works outside of those other things. So he has a regular job. He has a large family now, young children. So the Dudek Modern Goods stuff kind of got put to the side, I think temporarily, while he does his normal life stuff. So when did the pen market slowdown start? So the pen market slowdown for us started in 2022, probably, post-COVID. So I don't know if this was true of other pen manufacturers, but especially pen manufacturers that don't rely on external processes and importing anything from overseas. I think a lot of us had a really good 2020 and 2021. And then it significantly, the market started to decline in 2022 and then has continued to decline every year since then. And it is currently a little bit down from last year. And that's across the board. Everybody that we've talked to at pen shows kind of says the same thing. So thank you for the cube history background. Did the special edition for the basic subscription to ship yet? No. So those will be shipping at the end of this month. So we've got a week and a half, 2 weeks, and that one will ship along with the basic 006. So yeah, you didn't miss that, Jay. It's coming. Brian, that's kind of true, but like the increase, so even from when I started working here in 2015, the increase, like the pen boom, like was big time between 2015 and 2019. I'm talking like our revenue, like we had 30% increases between 2015 and 2016, and then that happened again from 2016 to the next year, and then again the next year, and then again the next year. So that was not like that was happening outside of the COVID, extra money, all that nonsense. Like that was already occurring prior to that. We were seeing yearly, big yearly double, like 20% growth, year over year, through 2019 that didn't have anything to do with that. So yeah, so like it was trending up regardless. I mean, there's some, if you want to do a deep dive into the economics of pens, I suggest doing a search of some of the German periodicals on the pen industry. There are some out there you can find that actually have like metrics and data worldwide on pen sales and stuff like that. So sneak preview. I don't have them they're still out at the anodizer. So as soon as I get them back, I'll be teasing them to the subscribers. So right. Question, is there a way to convert the Vertex Ultim resin-based fountain pen into a rollerball ballpoint format? Let's see. So yes, James, you can use the rollerball tip that functions on the Decograph or the ink and a G2 spring, and a G2. The only thing is that the tip of the refill is going to protrude. Let me see if I have one here that I can show you. The tip in the resin ones is just going to protrude a little bit further because we're not able to drill the inside of the body of the resin Vertexes as deeply as we can the aluminum ones. So I'll try to show this. Is it gonna focus? It's not gonna focus. It's not gonna focus. Okay. How about this? We'll move over here and you can see it on the other one. So it's gonna look like that, and there's gonna be a little extra tip that pops out. Depending on the refill that you use, it's going to differ a little bit. But yeah, you can use just the normal rollerball tip in there with any of our grips. So that's in an aluminum one, but it'll work in the resin one as well. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, that's how I use most of my Vertexes now, honestly. Like I like fountain pens, but I set them up as roller balls and use them as roller balls because they're just easier for me to maintain. Chris asks, any chance of some tips that are machined for the uniball diameter tips? I'm not sure that we'll ever do that, honestly. Especially in retractable pens. It's hard enough for us to continue to release pens with Parker style adaptations. That's 20 to 25% of our customers, which seems like a lot, but when you're designing around refill specifications, it's difficult to take into account all the different refills, especially when you can't buy, when we can't buy the refills direct from the manufacturer. So like buying in bulk to reduce the price of the refills would help us do that some. So I don't know that we'll ever do that. I won't rule it out, but I don't know that we'll ever do it. So for Vertex, either one will work. They're exactly, honestly, Bob, they're exactly the same, I think. They're just, that's not true. Use the Decograph one, because the Decograph one doesn't come with the spacer. The ink one comes with the spacer at the bottom. And you don't need the spacer. You only need just the rollerball tip, the spring, and a G2 refill. So use the Decograph kit. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch over and show off some of the I don't know if this is going to help or not. We'll see. I don't know if it really helps. These are the blanks from some of the new resin the new resins that we're going to be doing. I don't know, the light doesn't really add anything to it, but several of these, 3 of these are very, have like mica and metallics, shiny parts of them in them. So actually I'll do it like this, that way we can talk. So the 3 bottom ones, this orange and black and gold swirl, is like permeated really, really thickly with a bunch of like gold and silver sheen, like mica. The caps that we rolled off of those, like already without even being polished, look pretty cool. The one right above it, this blue and black, orange and gold one, almost all of these colors are just an opaque with no shine to them at all, except for the gold swirl, which has a whole bunch of mica in the gold swirl. So I'm curious. I actually haven't seen that one machined yet. I'm really curious how that gold is going to accent all the other colors and kind of like show up with the black or the blue or the orange. It'll be super interesting to see that one. The one above that is a second batch. We haven't had, so this is a green color that a green, black, and silver swirl that we have not had since the first prototype release of the Decograph. It's a similar batch that we got for the Decograph. And we only had like 30 or 40 of those pens that we ever sold. Yeah, this one is real close to the Zoinks. I think it's just going to be a little bit shinier and not look as weird as those chunks did. And then the top one is a camo pattern that's all matte. I just thought it looked cool. We've never done anything like that. It's, I don't know what it's going to look like. It might look super cool. It might just sit on the shelf and be gross. But all of these look significantly different. They will continue to, when we have them on the actual pens themselves, they're going to look totally different too. They're going to, the different cuts and, the way that the pen is shaped change how much of each different swirl come through. So we're super excited to get back to these because the resin Vertex are kind of the bread and butter for that pen. It's nice to have the aluminum ones. They're a lot more durable. They allow you to do a lot more, but the resin ones are just top notch in terms of showing off the way that pen really looks. I don't know if we're going to expand to add more Jovo nibs. Because it requires us to machine them from scratch as opposed to using the ones that we are having partially molded and then machined in-house and then finished machined in-house. So like the Ultem Jovos that we have, we machined from the ground up. So I don't know that we're going to do that. Might happen, it might not. It's definitely one of the things that Bill and I will talk about moving forward is continuing to keep those in stock somehow. But I don't know that we'll necessarily expand to offer that very often. It's difficult for us to do. All right. It's possible that that's what that one is. I don't know. I ordered these from Turner's Workshop in the UK, which I believe Vince owns Aeronoid now, or is a partial owner of Aeronoid. So that's the only person that that's the only company that I get our resins from. That's we've used other manufacturers that are a lot cheaper and that sell other stuff, and the quality is just not as good. Everything that Vince sells is far superior, unless you're going to get custom poured stuff from like Jonathan Brooks or one of the guys that's doing custom Alumilite stuff. If you want like high quality pen blanks from any of the acrylic acetates or some of the cellulose and stuff like that, Vince is the only person to buy stuff from. And although he sells on his website in like 6-inch, I think, blocks, like the rods are only 6 inches long, he actually cuts those down from like meter length rods. So when I order stuff from him, we order them in the longest rod that he has available. That way we can machine them. We can maximize our machines as opposed to just doing 6-inch blanks. 6-inch blanks are great for pen turners, but for us, we don't manufacture that way. The longer the rod, the better for our machines. So, and since he has those available, a lot of places don't sell them. They pre-cut all their stuff, and so if he knows we need stuff, he'll leave it. He won't cut it for us, and so we'll get it. All of our stuff is longer than that, so that we can manufacture. We can limit the amount of loss we have between parts and stuff like that. So, super good. Like, I highly recommend his stuff. Like, if you want a custom pen made and you don't find something that's to your liking, I highly recommend buying stuff from him. You can of course go to somebody who's going to do some custom Alumilite for you, but he has a huge variety of stuff and constantly gets stuff in. So super awesome to work with too. Like, one of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to. Like every time I've conversed with him, even if it was just like asking for samples for us, he's just an awesome person. So next, whenever we go to restock, that's my first stop is going to him. As opposed, I usually don't even have to go anywhere else to look for anything. Like I can get 30 different colors in batches, and like 25 to 40 big long raw rods from him, as opposed to like piecing together an order from somebody else. So if you're ever in the market for a large form and you need a bunch of stuff or just a lot of stuff, he's definitely one of the people that you want to look up. Okay, so we're kind of winding things down. I don't have a lot else to go over. So if you have more questions, you're more than welcome to put them into the chat. If not, make sure that you have completed the Google form that's pinned at the top of the chat so that you get entered into the drawing. We'll go ahead and do that here in a few minutes. But I want to give everybody the opportunity to fill that out. I also want to give everybody the opportunity to I want to give everybody the opportunity to ask any questions they may have. I want to, you know, take care of everybody's questions. So if anybody else has any questions or I missed a question, I'll scroll back a little bit. Let's see here. Let me scroll back and read, make sure I got everybody's questions. Question on stopping patina. This is going to be a good one. Send it. Is there anything you do put on brass to stop it from tarnishing? There's like there's like three things that you can do with brass with that are that I would recommend. One is just invest in a whole bunch of jeweler's cloths. You can go on Amazon, they're relatively inexpensive, like a jeweler's cloth, a sunshine cloth, and just shine them relatively frequently. You can use different types of wax. There are different kinds of Renaissance wax. There are different types of waxes that you can use, and liquid brass protectants that will extend the period of time that you have to, that will keep oxidation away for a period of time longer than just leaving it raw. However, that is dependent on how often you use the pen, because your skin is going to cause more oxidation than the air will. The natural oils in your skin is going to cause that more than anything else. You can use a process of aerosolized clear coat. I don't recommend spray paint, but there are different ways of basically vapor chamber clear coat that is uniform and very, very, very thin that will protect it. It's expensive. You can do it at home, but I don't recommend it because legally it can, you can damage your lungs if you don't have the setup correctly. So how fast is it tarnishing, out of curiosity? A fountain pendulum, we currently have one of the there is a dragon skin pocket modal with the August Blaze currently available on the website. So there's one available right now. We'll have some more available over the next couple of months in different colors. If there's a specific color that you want and we're going to do a batch, you can always shoot me an email at paul@chaoscustoms.com. I can show you what we have. It tarnishes over a month after clean. That's a little bit fast. That's a little bit faster than brass. But if you're using it a lot, that's probably why. And different people's skin reacts a lot. And also, and also how humid the environment is. But I've met a couple people now that one day's use of brass is, and the pen is completely black. And that's actually due to an allergic reaction that doesn't cause them any harm. They don't like break out in hives, but it causes their skin to react in a way that basically sheds more sweat and oils that contain oxygen to protect the skin onto the pen and turns them black. We literally had somebody come in here a day after they bought their brass pen, and they're like, "Is this normal?" And the pen was just covered in like black splotches everywhere, and his fingers were like totally black. And I was like, "I've never seen that before." Clean the pen. So maybe there's something on the pen. Clean the pen, gave him the pen back. He left. Like a week later, he called us back. It's still doing the same thing. And I had to do research on it. And there is, in fact, a very small portion of the population that can have a reaction where their pen just turns black based off the pH balance of their body and increasing some type of allergen. So crazy stuff. So it's quite a few different things. I honestly like you might try the waxes first. Like investing in a wax might extend the shine long enough to where you're gonna be like, okay, I can deal with this. That's fine. Like, if it's every 3 months that I'm having to like strip the wax off, polish it with a sunshine cloth and reapply the wax, that might be enough for you. If you really want to protect it, you're gonna the only thing to do would be to clear coat it, unfortunately. So. All right. Has everybody filled out the form? Please do that. It's not a chemistry lesson. I'm not like a chemistry person. Like I had to do a bunch of research on it, but it was pretty interesting to find that was actually something. And then I've met another person at a pen show that was like, oh yeah, all my brass pens do that with me too. It doesn't bother me. I just, I like them to be patinaed anyway. So I just have to wash my hands afterwards. I think it's like a little bit like I would not be able to walk around with like black all over I don't know. It would give me the creeps if it happened to me. But I also am not a big brass person. The brass and copper pens are just too heavy for me. Like, more power to you. If you like brass pens, we've got some stuff coming up for you. You're going to be super stoked because we got some brass stuff coming up that you're going to be all about. I just don't want people to think that I have any kind of background in chemistry, because I don't. It was my worst subject in high school, and I stayed away from ever taking it again. And when I was in college, I specifically took geology so that I didn't have to do biology or chemistry and never see the inside of a chemistry lab ever again. Okay, looks like we've got a bunch of people on the list for the giveaway. Nope, you don't need Zerk at all. We're never going to do it. It's not happening. I'm not going to say we're never going to do it. It's not likely that we're ever going to do any zirconium, ever. If the price of titanium comes down, or our ability to manufacture them, I'm just going to say we're not done experimenting with any types of materials. Everything's on the table. It all has to do with our ability to manufacture them and to sell them. So if the market's there for it, and we can make a margin on it, we'll try to do it. But just saying, just saying. I know all you guys love to bring up that kind of stuff. So let's see here. Sorry, I'm getting this. You'll have to give me some time here. I'm fighting with the spreadsheet. Okay. Nope. Boy, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 randomizations. Immediately disqualified. All right, so James, winner number 1, James Cheshire. Winner number 2, Colin McDermott. Winner number 2. Winner number 3, Nostra Vinci. So those are the 3 winners. Everybody else, thanks for playing. And we'll have more. Look, if you want free stuff, I give away at least 2 pens or 2 things every single month during the live stream. Come back next month. Be sure to be here, watch the stream, interact, play again. I really try not to. That is one of the things that I try to do, is like give everybody a fair chance. So, Sue Cruel to your family who loves you. My family gets free pins, so they can't complain. They are disqualified. For legal reasons. They cannot. They are excluded from winning any of our giveaways. Nostra Vinci. All right, guys. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and shut it down, and I will see you guys next month. You are going to want to stay tuned to all of our social media over the next couple weeks. We're going to be showing off some pretty cool stuff. We're doing some experimentation. We're doing some really cool stuff post San Francisco Pen Show. Josh is working on some really, really cool products right now. So stay tuned. If you don't follow us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. Definitely stay subscribed to the newsletter, because we'll show it off on the newsletter. So thank you for being here. And I'll be showing it off. I will likely have some cool stuff to show off in the September live stream that you're going to want. So there is a huge lag. I apologize. But yes, there is a huge lag, Jim. I've been getting an error message this whole time that the lag is coming through. So, All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, concerns, or complaints, you can always email me. Winners of the giveaway, please email paul@karascustoms.com with your information so I can get those sent out. Otherwise, I'll see you next month. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys in September. If you're going to San Francisco, you'll see G and Tommy at that show. So you'll see them even sooner.